After a few years in the wear and tear of life, we can end up looking a little tired. So who wouldn't want to get a refreshment for a younger look? Joining me today to discuss one solution, Dr. Brian Dorner from Capital City Cosmetic Surgery. Dr. Dorner, good to have you back.
Thank you.
The procedure, the regular facelift, as most of us know it, that really has changed over time. It's gotten easier on people, hasn't it?
Well, absolutely. And for the last 30 years, people have done a lot of research on how to reconstruct the aging changes in the face. And we've come up to a point now where you can sort of reset all the structures that have aged over the last 30 years of your life and put them back where they belong. The interesting thing about that, though, is the pendulum's starting to swing a little bit the other way, and people are beginning to think more and more about how to do a quicker facelift or a faster one, which isn't always the right answer. I think people are better served doing a traditional sort of modern facelift that's deeper and more involved. They get longer longevity, they get a better, more natural look. Everybody's worried about looking pulled or distorted.
Well, maybe some of the reason is because people want to get back to life quicker. Is that part of it?
Well,
because it might be less expensive?
Right. Those are probably two of the things that people think. The problem is there's really no free lunch, even in plastic surgery. If you're going to get a good job and you're going to have it last, you're still looking at about 5 to 7 days minimum. And if you take some of the advertised facelifts that are supposed to be quick and easy, people are still having to hide out for about a week. And if you look at a full facelift, one that's a deep plane or a more involved one like the ones I do, you're usually looking 7 to 10 days before you're back in. So the difference is minimal, and you get so much more performance out of it. Like some of the shorter, quicker lifts may only last a couple of years, whereas a facelift
and you have to do it again.
Right, you have to do it again, whereas most people will not come back and have another facelift done if it's done the way I do it. It just lasts long enough.
Now, you're talking about the full facelifts. What age do you... I know everyone ages a little differently, but is there an age range that you can share?
Well, it's earlier now than it used to be. We're beginning to see people in usually between 45 and 55 now. Used to be people waited till they're much older. And the problem with that is your skin tone's not as good. You don't get as good a result off the table. And two, the change is so dramatic that people really don't want to have that sort of
you don't
obvious
want a
of a
telltale
change.
sign that, yes,
Right.
you've had some work done. This gentleman looks wonderful, and he looks older, and obviously you can see some changes. But I suppose it depends on some folks. Maybe they think, I'm going to wait a little longer, and then at some point they go, you know what, I've waited long enough.
Right.
I'm ready to do this.
Well, you'll find, too, if you do it earlier, say you do it in your early 50s, that you're still going to look 20 years younger when you're 70. So if you do it when you're 50, when you're 70, you might look like you're 50. So most people won't go back and repeat it. So, you know, there's different people everywhere, but generally you're around your friends, you always look younger and more vibrant, and most of the time people will never come back to have it done again.
But let's talk about the medical part here. If you have some other issues going on with your medical life, I mean, this is major surgery that you're talking about. So when you talk to patients to see whether they're candidates, you have to look at how they are physically as well, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, everybody has to go through a medical workup. You have to make sure that they're as healthy as they can be. You know, you don't want to be smoking. You don't want to be doing other things. Now, saying that and getting people to actually quit smoking is not always possible. So you do have to make some compromises on their surgery so that they don't run a risk of having a problem. But in general, the surgery is very safe. If you don't have major health problems, you're going to do very well with it.
And this is another one of your patients before and after.
She's actually a funny story because I operated on her, and she was upset at first because she said she looked too young. She wanted to look about 10 years younger, and her
See,
neighbor
no one's
thought
ever
she looked...
satisfied, right?
I know, and she said she looked like 20 years younger, and she was unhappy about that, which I thought was... I wish I could have caught that on tape. It was the funniest thing.
And now I bet she's happy as a clam.
Oh, yeah, now she's thrilled, but it was really funny to hear that right off the bat.
Those are things that you really do have to talk to the clients about and say, you know what, some people are going to notice this, and that's just the way it is. You want to look younger. You want to make sure that you have some results to prove it.
Right, exactly.
That's funny. Well, Dr. Dorner, what kind of price range do you talk about with these things?
Well, it varies and depends on all that you need done, but most of the time to get a facelift without like the eyes and the brows and all that, it's around $7,000 to $8,000, something like that.
And you said recovery time 7 to 10 days for the
Right.
most part. Okay. Well, it's such a pleasure to have you back here.
Oh, thank you.
And great education. And that is one thing you say, people do your research.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Know who's doing it and know what the facelift is. The problem with the facelift is everybody says, I'm doing a facelift, but they're not the same. You know, there's string lifts, there's max lifts, there's S lifts, there's short scars. It goes on, and you want to know that the person's doing, my opinion, is a deep plane facelift that's a multi-vector facelift, and that makes the difference. And even saying that, some physicians aren't being as aggressive. I mean, I spent a whole year learning how to do this particular facelift because it's just not the type of thing that most physicians will do.
So people have to do their research.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Dr. Dorner. Nice to have you here.
Thank you.